Happy Saturday. We have taro. It was not great when I bought it. It was 69 cents a pound. It's starting to turn kind of slimy, so it's going bad. So we're gonna wash it, we're gonna peel it. And I think we're gonna I wanna make like taro latkes where we shred it and then we fry it. So we'll see. I normally just like stew it in coconut milk or cream and sugar and then eat it like as a dessert, but I want to do something different today, so we're gonna wash it first. How's everyone doing? I need to pull up my chat so I can see you guys. It is kind of potato-like, yeah, exactly. Fred is in the bedroom. So I bought this taro because on a live last week, somebody said they wanted to see me cook taro, and I'm sure there's a lot of recipes that exist that use taro, but honestly, I'm just so tired of cooking sometimes that I don't want to do anything too intensive. Yeah, I love the fried taro dim sum, but guys, like, we're not gonna fry shit at home. I'm not doing that cleanup. If you know, you know. Frying is a pain in the ass.
Hello, June Sims. How are we doing?
Rebecca, I am just going to shred the taro and kind of sear it like a latke. And first, we just have to peel it because it's starting to go bad on the outside. You can kind of see like little uneven surfaces, dimples. They're starting to turn a little bit slimy. So we're just going to sliver that all off. Get a nice, healthy piece of taro going. And
Is
then
taro healthy?
Taro is supposedly very healthy, yes. Indeed.
I'm so hungry right now I could eat some of Fred's food.
Alright, well, what are you gonna eat?
Fred's food, I just told you.
Don't eat that, it's expensive.
Okay. You got it free off the streets, June.
I know, but like, still, we're gonna have to pay for it after we run out. You're gonna eat broccoli?
Yes.
Just raw?
No.
Can you not do cooking right now? Because I wasn't prepared and you didn't tell me.
Yes, I'm sorry.
You can, but you need to find a place that is waterproof for my laptop. Like, would love more coordination if you want to cook on stream. Beforehand, if possible. Guys, I'm very easily stressed, and when unexpected things pop up, the smallest things, they will trigger me. They will make my anxiety just shoot through. This is why I'm kind of a control freak. So if you'd like to cook, Aaron, let's talk about it, please. Okay. Demonstrate some healthy communication behaviors.
Yes, I'm just kidding.
Relationships are not easy, guys.
I think they are.
People carry baggage, other people don't understand the baggage they carry, other people misunderstand the baggage, other people don't see the baggage, other people get insecure about what that means, reflected on themselves, leads to more misunderstanding, leads to fights, leads to more damaged self-esteems that were already weak to begin with. There's a lot of moving parts to relationships.
I use to me.
What?
My baggage is to me.
What?
Nothing.
I actually really hate it when Aaron cracks jokes and I'm trying to be serious because I feel like it is making something that affects me very deeply, a joke, which I don't really like the feeling of. If I'm being very serious when I'm talking about stuff, I want you to be serious too. And this is something that I've brought up with Aaron before, but I think you're still wrapping your head around it, Aaron. I think we all have our own self-defense mechanisms, and other people don't understand them, and they misconstrue them, or it's simply not a compatible defense mechanism for the other person, and it just, it's just better to maybe talk through your insecurities rather than use humor as a deflection device.
That's a good insight, June, for sure.
Alright, one taro piece, cleaned, peeled, looks good, speckly purple. How do you pick a good taro? Well, don't pick one that has bumpy edges and surfaces and sliminess like the one that I just picked. And my mom also told me to look for the cut end to have as much colorful purple as possible. You know, Willie, is it passive-aggressive? I am not sure. I feel like I've had the same convo with Aaron in private before, and right now I'm just stream of consciousness narrating everything that's going through my head right now, because I really don't feel like, I know this is alive and I know there's strangers watching, but I also just don't feel like closeting my thoughts and closeting things that affect me negatively, and I'd rather just narrate them and say them out loud so that they can pass through me. So is it passive aggression? Maybe, I don't know. I'm not the easiest person to be around. In fact, I might be one of the hardest people to be around. It is very, very difficult living with me, and it is very difficult to be in a relationship with me. I will just say that. So props to Aaron. I have very high standards for people who are close to me. I demand a lot of transparency, which is not always easy because society has taught us to not be transparent whenever possible. So it is just a lot to handle, living with me and trying to satisfy my high standards, which ultimately makes everyone, including myself, miserable. But you know, there are only certain parts of yourself that you can change at one time. And that's if you are willing to change, and I am a very stubborn person, and I am pretty much never willing to change unless I hate myself. So there do come times when I hate myself and I'm like, June, you gotta fucking change. And even when I make that acknowledgement to myself, I don't change immediately. Sometimes it takes months to sink in and get into a rhythm or a routine. Sometimes it takes years, and when it comes to other things like bad eating habits, disordered eating, body image issues, I'm still struggling with it 2 decades later. It's not been 2 decades yet. A decade and a half later. Half of my life. And I think it's just the best thing I can do with myself is just try to be as honest with myself about these issues first. And, you know, a relationship has a door. If I should hope if Aaron ever feels like I'm getting too much, too demanding, too whatever, he knows he can leave the abusive situation. But I would also love it if, you know, in any given relationship with me, you tell me in real time what is affecting you, and if my behavior is damaging you in a way that you feel like will become unacceptable and unsustainable. And then hopefully we will both be rational enough to talk through it, and if we aren't, then I guess we gotta part ways. But you have to peel the taro. You cannot eat there's like this kind of sap in the peel of the taro that is, it actually triggers a skin reaction in a lot of people, which is why some people have to wear gloves when they trim it. But I would not recommend eating the skin of the taro. It is very fibrous and hairy, and don't do it. Like, I think we just gotta acknowledge that people are not easy to deal with. That's why we love animals. Animals are easy to deal with, right? They just have very basic needs. We give it to them. They're happy. We're happy. Everybody's happy. The end. That's why humans suck so fucking much. That's why we've made the world such a miserable place to be. So, yeah, we are difficult people. There's no skating around that fact. We just try to be as not problematic as possible, but even then we don't succeed. I haven't done a formal video. Guys, I don't have the energy to film and cut videos for my own channel, which is why my channel is for the most part just live. It's quite tiring to work a full-time job and have to cut my own videos. But Aaron and I met in 2011 in China. We answer this question every night.
Yeah, it's one of the ones you guys can answer for us.
Now I'm just gonna shred the taro. Ooh, that smells good. What'd you put in there?
Mediterranean citrus salt and some chili lime seasoning.
Yeah, taro is not sweet on its own at all. It's quite bland, but it is very creamy. It's got no astringency the way a potato might. So it lends itself very well to both savory and sweet applications, which is another reason why I love it. It turns itself into the most delectably dense mush, and it's very versatile.
Krista, I think these 4-letter mental health diagnoses of people like BCDP, ODCP or whatever, and now you're saying OCPD. It's sort of like astrology, like people can, diagnose themselves with anything. They look up these disorders and it's like, oh yeah, that kind of sounds like me. So, I'm sure some people genuinely have this real stuff. Yeah, AC/DC is another one.
AC/DC is a band.
Amy B said it was a joke.
Okay.
But it's like, you can look up this stuff and diagnose yourself. I'm sure some people do, but it's like, you can fit this stuff like astrology profiles.
Angela, you're right. I didn't ever put that together. That's so cute. Whoops. I'm making a mess. Are you excited for some taro latke?
Definitely excited to try it. Yeah, I think it's confirmation biased, Yasmin.
I also think that being diagnosed and having a name to your perceived disorder or imbalance help some people. For a very long time, when I was feeling very depressed and clueless and just lost, I saw a therapist and I was like, I seek to come out of this exchange with a diagnosis. And after 8 sessions, I decided that she was not the best therapist for me. So I was like, I gotta peace out. But do you have a diagnosis for me? And she was like, I don't really have a diagnosis, but I think for sure you could be depressed. And that's about it. I was like, all right, cool. And it did give me some sort of a peace to feel like, cool, this might be depression. But I've also never felt the kind of depression where some people experience, where they can't get out of bed and they can't function without medication, without some sort of actual chemical balancing through pharmaceuticals. But I have experienced, just complete lack of interest and motivation to do anything but it's never gotten bad enough where I'm like, wow, I feel like a dead shell. So I think everybody experiences depression very, very differently, and I think, if being labeled helps you, then go and get yourself diagnosed. And if being labeled traps you and imprisons you, then I have never tried depression meds. I really don't feel like I want depression meds. I just grew up with so many health issues, and I had to go on so many pills and medications to sort out my autoimmune disorder, and I had to be in so many hospitals at such a young age getting stabbed with blood test needles and other needles, and I'm just like, I just really don't like doctors or hospitals or pills, and I'm just going to try to avoid it as much as I can. This isn't to say that if I ever should need medication in the future, I'll refuse it, but as it is now, I don't think, for me, medication is necessary.
Is that a Delish grader?
Yes, I took it off the free table. It wasn't Delish, it was just on the 29th
Someone's asking
floor.
what the brand is.
The brand, it's not great, guys, because I have to hold it in place. It's hollow and it collapses.
It folds.
So it's just a free grater that I got. It only has 2 grating sides. It's great because it collapses, but it's also not great because it collapses. And the brand is Joseph. Never heard of it before. My kitchen is filled with trashed items. Alright, let's fry some shit up. So this is what the shredded taro looks like, almost like shredded coconut. And the purple color isn't very obvious, but it does get a little bit more infused and thoroughly purple lavender when it's cooked.
How does June deal with anxiety? She often doesn't.
Not well, anyway.
Yeah.
I kind of just survive it. And I think the key thing to keep in mind is no one solution works for everyone. There is no one size fits all. Everybody experiences reality differently. Everyone experiences their own condition and bodies differently, and it's just you gotta find what works for you. And don't assume that just because it worked for someone else, it's also gonna work for you. It probably won't.
Right. Which is why these 4-letter acronyms that we like to assign ourselves are just sort of big, really huge buckets of different, aspects of our personality, and these can and our personality manifests in an infinite, variety of ways that just, trying to toss it into one bucket, and it's okay, now I'm AC/DC is,
AC/DC.
yeah, is I
a
guess
little bit of olive oil in my
can
cast
be
iron
helpful
pan.
if it gives you meaning and direction in life to go on, but often is just very confining, and I think, as I've talked about before, reinforcing of what you expect those behaviors to be.
Aaron does have a very soothing voice. You're totally right.
I have broccoli on the back burner. Broccoli with some garlic and some spices. That's it. I'm just steaming some broccoli.
Aaron, when you make jokes, are you trying to make June feel better?
I make jokes. I think almost everything anybody does is because it makes themselves feel better. I do it because it comes naturally to me, just like June acts that in what ways come naturally to her.
Okay. They're not really latkes, guys, because it's literally just shredded taro. I was thinking about baking them into chips, but I really don't want to turn on the oven. It's 70 degrees outside again, even though it was freezing this morning. Aaron woke up and he was like, I'm freezing. And I'm like, dude, I know you're freezing. And then he was like, I'm freezing. And then he took all the blankets.
No, I woke up and you had all the blankets. Okay. You had the fleece this morning.
Yes, and then you took them all from me.
You said you didn't need them. I think that'll fit.
70 is not hot for New York, but guys, it's only May 1st. Like, it's spring.
It was in the 40s this morning.
And it's so, the temperatures just keep going back and forth. It's really terrifying. I'm just gonna salt it, and I'm gonna keep the flavors plain, and we can always do dipping sauce or spicy oil or whatever. Susan says imperfect bowl must be Aaron's favorite. Is it your favorite?
Is it imperfect? What's imperfect about it?
It's the lady who sent it to us.
Yeah, I know where
She
it's
makes
from.
it perfect.
I think it's pretty perfect.
Okay, well,
It's a nice bowl. What's wrong with it?
you got another I like Aaron's
It's
voice.
it's not like wabi sabi bowl. That was it called, right? Or
Yeah.
yeah. It's not one of those. But it's very uniform in its shape. I guess you could say the splotches of paint are imperfect, but I don't know. Are Jackson Pollock paintings imperfect?
Yeah. Aren't they?
Is everything imperfect?
I don't know.
Is this EVO?
Yes.
Just some simple steamed broccoli. I haven't made this much recently, but I used to make it a lot. It's just like a really, healthy, filling meal snack. Is this more of a meal or a snack, do you think?
Snack.
Snack.
I mean, it
June says
depends
it's a
on who
snack.
you ask.
June's a big snacker. Everything's a snack to her, though.
I mean,
No.
I'm not one of those girls who eats a bowl of salad and calls it a meal. That's palate cleanser.
June's not like other girls.
I am like other girls. I'm like other girls with problematic relationship with food.
Iris Tuna says, "When is the next episode of Budget Eats coming out?"
Calm your butts down. Calm your butts down, guys. Just because you keep harassing me about the next Budget Eats won't make it come any sooner, okay? Calm down.
Yeah. If anything, when
Legit.
if you start demanding something come sooner, then, it might actually come later. It might not be able to come at all, actually.
It's not up to me. It's up to Julia and Delish and programming, and we have other videos that we have to put out. Like, keep in mind that Delish's YouTube video is not my channel. It's Delish's channel. I'm only one part of that channel. So we have other stuff going live on that account all the time.
And add some crunchy seaweed.
Crunchy seaweed.
Wakame chazke. This is one of my favorite seasonings.
One of your favorite seasonings.
It's true. What's your favorite seasoning, June?
My favorite seasoning is... What? Hot one?
No. I guess it's furikake. Is it a form of furikake is the one with chili or just with seaweed?
Furikake is what you're eating now.
Yeah.
girl. It
What?
goes
Oh,
on rice.
togarashi is the one with chili.
Yes.
Yeah. I guess it is a form. Yeah. It's big seaweed chunks and some rice balls. Any plans on another Zoom cooking challenge?
None yet.
You guys didn't watch it enough. Watch it more, and then you would have. June would make another.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, no promises.
Media doesn't make sense, guys. We don't always do things that make sense. We don't always do things that make meaning. Sometimes media just gotta be random.
I'm so full, and I still like watching June make food and Aaron eat food. Thanks, Kelly.
I'm so full, and sometimes I like watching myself make food in real time and then be like, why did I make this? And then I proceed to eat it all.
After 100 views, YouTube doesn't count repeat views. Make new.
After
If you guys,
100 views?
that's what they say. But if you guys really want a certain thing, you should make 1,000 Google accounts each and
Wow.
watch it from each.
No thanks, guys. Don't be that person.
Or are you still in the lead for the Webby, June?
I don't know. I don't check that shit every day, guys. It really does not matter to me. I mean, it would be nice for the team if we won, but it does not matter to me personally.
We have been to Japan.
I've been to Korea too, just one night. My flight connection was delayed, and so I got put up in a hotel for a night. It was really nice.
In Incheon, right?
What?
The hotel city? Or the airport city?
Yeah.
Incheon?
Is that how you say it?
That's how I've heard it, but I don't know if that's right. Korean fans,
It's in Seoul, right?
Korean watchers, can you tell us how to pronounce Incheon?
It's in Seoul, right?
Yeah, near it. It's pretty far from the city. That's why they usually call it.
Is there
Incheon,
no Hi Fred. Move aside for the king. Is there no airport in Seoul? Like that's the
I
closest
think the
one?
closest big international airport is that one, yeah. That's where everybody flies into. I believe it was a American military base originally, which is why it's kind of far from the city, and then they just made it into their international airport.
Thanks for voting for me.
Incheon, somebody says Incheon.
Huh.
I don't know why people say Incheon.
Huh.
I would visit North Korea. I actually had vague plans to when I was living in China because it's actually much easier to get into North Korea from China. That's how like tour groups do it. The tours all start there. But I was very poor at the time when I was living in China, and it was like $5,000 or something for the whole guided tour. So I didn't do it, but I still would. I lived in a lot of places in China. I've lived in Shanghai, Yunnan, city of Linsang, Gansu province, a small town called Ganggu, which is southeast of Lanzhou. I've lived in Xi'an, Beijing briefly, Hong Kong 3 weeks. I was homeless in Hong Kong for 3 weeks, and I've lived in Nanjing.
Do you think you're still on the visa blacklist?
No, because I went back many times with
Oh right.
DJI,
Right.
and also we traveled there together
Why were you homeless?
because I overstayed my visa, and they canceled it. So I was stuck in Hong Kong and couldn't get back in. So I just stayed there until I could get a flight out. Or no, I had a flight to the Philippines 3 weeks later, which I was going to take from Hong Kong. And so I figured I would stay in Hong Kong for the 3 weeks until I could fly to the Philippines. But this was like 10 years ago now. So, ancient history.
Was that scary, Aaron?
Not scary, just sort of. Obviously, there was stress involved. It was a lot of stress, but it was also, a really sort of beautiful time, actually, to some degree, in my favorite city in the world. I wasn't homeless for the full 3 weeks, no place to sleep. It was just one night where I slept outside, but every other night I was bouncing, from hostel to hostel. The cheapest place in the city. I got bed bugs.
Oh yeah, that was terrible.
Yeah, I got bed bugs from one place. Basically, every day,
You're blocking Fred though.
I would walk up and down the stairways in the Chungking mansions, going from guest house to guest house, seeing what the cheapest was, but a lot of them didn't have availability. So that's why I was truly homeless that one night. is I couldn't find a guest house anywhere, so I just sat on a bench by the harbor, like watching the ships come in all night, with a bottle of convenience store wine. And a big block of cheese too.
Oh yeah, I remember
Some
that.
discount cheese from
And you lived off of discount sushi.
oh yeah, I lived off of, there was really fancy supermarkets in Hong Kong that would, at the end of the day, discount their sushi like a lot. And so I was like a broke, homeless guy living off of fancy sushi. But end of day sushi.
Do you want a taro thingy?
I do, of course, yes.
That's what they look like. Let's make a few more. Fred, are you okay with the smoke in here, buddy? I don't want to kill you.
I'm not, I'm starting to cough.
He always likes it when it's so bad, but I just opened up the window. Hopefully that'll be a little...
Thank you.
Are you coughing from the smoke?
I think so.
Wow. Why don't we make a big one?
Okay. Is that one for me on the left?
Yeah, there's 3 there. We can all have a bite. You can get your spicy sauces ready. What was your favorite moment of today that you lived through, Aaron?
Was that a question from chat or you?
From me, Aaron.
Um,
Yeah, chat.
I don't know. I had a pretty weak day. Before I was in a pretty bad mood when I was trying to motivate myself to work out. June can tell you, I was just like
I didn't want to work out.
lying on the bed in a daze. So, I don't know.
I slept until like 1:30 today.
This is really good on its own. I actually really like it on its own, honestly.
Nice.
Are you gonna eat this? Are these all for me?
You can
Sure.
have all of them.
Aren't you gonna try it?
I'm making more, so.
Well, try it now. Tell the people what you think. Yeah, they are like taro hash browns. Exactly, except I like these more than hash browns normally because they're very crispy. June made them nice and thin.
You can have that, please. Well, I wanted chips. I wanted taro chips, so instead of turning on the oven, I just decided to pan fry them.
You're right, I should have chili sauce. What am I thinking? Who am I?
Mmm. They've got like a little bit of char on them, and that smokiness combined with the crunchiness, and the nice, sweet, carby, creamy taste of carbolicious taro is like the starchiest, healthiest kettle chip, but thicker and softer in the middle. And it tastes like half diner and half wok fire.
You guys know this, we've talked about this before. Shark brand sriracha, it's our favorite brand of sriracha.
Yeah, just enough carcinogens. You're exactly right, Amy. Bye, friend.
I have had harissa a lot. I love it.
What have you had?
Harissa.
Oh, yes. When we were traveling in Spain, Aaron was having so much trouble because none of the food was spicy. So we went into a supermarket and we found him a hot sauce, and it happened to be a tube of harissa. I think it was it French made or no? It might have been one of those What's that country that France colonized?
Algeria?
Yeah, it might have been Algerian. But I remember it had like Arabic on it, I think.
Yeah, it was like a French Middle Eastern harissa that was very spicy. And because not much food in Spain is naturally spicy, like whenever we would go to restaurants, I would just dump the harissa on the food.
Can't live without spice.
Truly cannot. What's the least spicy food country in the world? So I know never to go there.
Eastern Europe, I feel like,
Yeah,
has a reputation for it.
I think some like Central or South American cuisines are actually surprisingly not very spicy either. Like I think Cuban cuisine is known for, well, not known for, but I think they like don't have any chilies in Cuban cuisine. At least at the Cuban restaurants I've had, I couldn't find a single spicy thing on the menu. But you guys can correct me if I'm wrong about that. Italy, I don't think is it. Italy has pepperoncinos, and they have chili
Oh my
chilies
gosh.
grown in Liguria.
Calabrian chili.
Yeah, Calabrian chilies.
Famous chilies.
Yeah, Antarctica is probably not a very spicy place, but there's no indigenous people from Antarctica, so that doesn't count.
Hi, Montreal. English food sucks.
Yes, but English food at least has inherited some of the good food from the places they've colonized, like Nando's and curries and stuff like that. So the UK as a country, I think, still has some
Expired Pineapple Day and Chungking Express. That is an awesome movie, and holy crap, I love that scene so fucking much. Love that movie. Wong Kar-wai used to be my favorite director of all time, and then he went to make like My Blueberry Nights, which was a freaking disaster. What the hell was that movie? And then I just lost all of my faith in him, and I've never watched another movie of his since. But his movies are so good. Used to be.
Yeah, Iceland probably for at least spicy cuisine, or Finland or the Scandinavian countries. I'm also still going to put my vote out for Cuba. I swear, every Cuban restaurant I've been to, I could not find a spicy thing on the menu.
I don't think this is gonna work. I don't think I can flip this, unfortunately. Womp womp. Womp 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 womp.
Just do this. Do one of these.
Yeah, should I?
Yeah, do it on cam. Give the
Okay,
people
but
a show.
it's not toasty enough yet.
Okay.
I'm gonna set a timer
I
for
peer
3
pressured you
minutes.
into doing it, guys. Don't worry.
Okay. The people thank you for
Cubone.
your weirdest ideas.
What about Cubone, the Pokemon?
The Pokemon.
Yeah, Willie just said the word Cubone. Have you ever had Mexican aguachile? I don't think I have. Is
Chili
that
water?
chili water?
What's chili water, guys?
You guys like it when just my mouth is in frame? So I
Yeah.
keep it like this all
I
street?
bet they like it. Should I eat some dry oatmeal and honey now? How bad were my farts last night?
I didn't notice.
Oh, cool. I'll keep eating it then.
I believe Americans can go to Cuba, yes. I don't think Trump fully rescinded Obama's declaration there.
I got a little bit of sesame butter left, so I'm just gonna dump some honey and dry oats in there, and I'm gonna have my snack. The snack makes me so happy, guys. Usually dry oats make my farts really, really bad, like really, really stinky. But sometimes I get lucky with the dry oats that I eat. Like some brands must go through more processing and they don't smell nearly as horrendous. So if anybody else likes eating dry oats and is afraid of farting, like, you know, toxic bombs out of their butts,
Toxic bombs out of their
yeah,
butts.
try different oats.
Yeah, there's JetBlue flights direct from JFK to Havana. Have I experimented with different types of mustaches? No. I basically just grow this kind and then leave it for a few weeks, and then when I get bored of it, shave it off, grow out a beard, and then just go through a cycle of, you know, shave, smooth, mustache, beard, It's like
Is Linda
orchids.
here? Linda hates your facial hair. She loves
Linda
clean shaven.
has very strong feelings about
Opinions.
things like Kansas.
Linda says I need to go to Kansas. Get
Linda-
out of the city.
Linda is a very special one.
Well, Linda, one day I'll come forage with you in the dumpsters of Kansas. One day I will. Can we please just fucking get rid of COVID? Or at least, give the people a chance to get rid of COVID first.
Thank you, Julie.
Is anyone else so fucking mad at the CDC for lifting the recommendation for wearing masks?
I'm not.
I think I ranted about this already, but God, I'm still so pissed. Anyway.
June wants us to live in COVID hell forever.
We are in COVID hell together.
Yeah, and you want us to be miserable throughout the whole thing.
I don't want us to be
All right.
miserable. I
right,
want
we're-
us to be not miserable.
We're about to flip. Everybody watch. Hey, that was like 95%. Yeah. There was a little bit of fold on the edge, but better than I could do. What about no mask, you vaxxed? You good with that?
The problem with no mask if you're vaxxed is that we can't know who's been vaxxed or not because we don't wear like a freaking badge on our coat that says I'm doubly vaxxed.
Right, that's
And so-
what the anti-vaxxers are always say, like, oh, it's the new Star of David is whether you're vaxxed or not.
Yeah, but like the thing is, people are just gonna take this excuse and they're gonna be like, it's not a big deal. So some people are just taking one dose of the vax and they're like, I'm done. And I'm like, no, you're not. Take your fucking second shot. Finish it. Finish it.
Hello, buff cupcake. I'm trying to picture that in my brain, what a buff cupcake looks like. It's pretty funny image.
Exactly, it's a freaking face condom. Everybody needs to practice safe existence.
Why though? Like, why should people practice safe existence?
Allison,
What if people
we
just
have-
want to die?
Allison, I mean, I'm not gonna keep you if you wanna die, but don't fucking kill those other people. And Allison, yes, we do have the vax cards, but no places are requiring you to like pull out the card. So there's no way to actually check if the maskless people are vaxxed.
Also, it's just like, if you guys have been vaxxed in America, the card is just like a piece of slightly thicker than
So
usual paper.
Easily
It's like not an ID card at all.
forged.
There's no, it's
There's no
literally,
stamps.
it's
There's
li-
no like watermark.
it's literally just a slightly thicker piece of paper that was inkjet printed.
You fed him 3 ounces, right?
Exactly 3.
Fred, we fed you, buddy. Don't stare at me.
Willie
like
says,
that.
I love Mask. Are you like the guy from Anchorman? You love Lamp and Mask?
Aaron, that flip was perfect. Don't be a dick.
It was 95% perfect.
All right.
It had you fixed the fold yourself right here. We all saw you do it.
True, it's true. Chungking Express is so freaking gorgeous. I gotta say though, I think my favorite film by Wong Kar-wai is Fallen Angels. There's something so strange and eerie and lovely about that one, and like the story, the plot line is so outrageous. Like nothing makes sense, but that's what he does best. He takes these like unlikely scenarios, like 2046. What the hell is going on with that plot? Crazy shit. Nobody's gonna believe in that plot, but like he makes it gorgeous enough that you don't care. Yeah, do we have any viewers right now who's in India? I liked In the Mood for Love. I liked all of his older stuff, honestly, before freaking Blueberry Nights and the Grandmaster. For the Grandmaster, I was just like, dude, you're not doing anything new. The story is freaking boring as shit. I don't think praying for India will do shit, honestly. I mean, is there a way to bring down Big Pharma and tell them to get their fucking assholes out of their own assholes? And
Can we pray Pfizer isn't greedy anymore? Good
can
luck.
we just open up the You know, can we open up the fucking patent so that other countries can start making it and stop coming up with excuses to protect profit? People are already dying. If you're gonna say that, you know, transferring these formulas to other places and then you don't have quality control or whatever other excuses you're coming up with, people are already dying. I don't think there is a worse outcome than people already dying by, you know, the buttload and then having to be burned in a mass pyre.
Yeah, I don't think low quality control.
There is no worse scenario than that.
It's already mass funeral pyres. How worse could it get?
I took my vitamin Sam, thank you. Oh, and my Instagram came back today. So I think they put me like on 24-hour blocks. I'm still not sure why I got blocked, but it came back today. I still managed to post stories throughout the block though. That's the weird thing. You would think that because they blocked me, they would block me from accessing all possible, you know, functionality. But they don't. They let me read my DMs and they let me post stories. I just can't see my stories or other people's feeds or my own feed or other people's stories. But DMs and posting stories, okay. I also can't tag people in my stories. It's very strange. I don't know what's going on with Instagram, honestly. The whole thing feels so fucking sketchy to me. Why 4 months, Canada? Why 4 months? That seems so long. Wow. Yikes, guys. I don't know what to say. It just sucks to know that the world could be so much better, and it's not. And all the reasons why we're not so much better than we are now are all stupid. They're all stupid. There is no good reason for maintaining our shit levels of existence right now. Like, what does money do, though? When you just hoard it, it doesn't do much other than make other people miserable, right? So what? All these billionaires get off on seeing people dying? I guess they must. I honestly don't know how they live with themselves. It's just so nearsighted, guys. Like, we're all gonna die at the end of our lives, and you're just trying to get more money to be more comfortable before you die, or to give yourself the illusion that you're not going to die because you have so much fucking power and your dick is so big. But you're still gonna die, buddy. You're still gonna die, and people are still gonna forget you, and your life is fucking meaningless. Why can't we be happy that life is meaningless? I feel like all of us could be so much happier if we just embrace the fact that life is meaningless. Just eat some oats with some nut butter and honey, fart it out, smell your own shit, Go to sleep, wake up, do another day of that until you die. Don't go around hoarding formulas for vaccines that could enable other people to not have to suffer. And if you don't like oats, eat some fried taro. Equally delicious shit. Do you still want fried taro?
Yeah.
Nice. This is a good batch, Aaron. In your little plate?
Sure. Did you let Fred smell?
Do you think he wants?
He did the thing where he stretched using his claws on my feet.
Yes, his claws are getting sharper. We might have to trim them again soon.
Ali loves your brain. Do you love your brain, June?
Sometimes. Not a fan, Fred? Okay. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It tastes exactly like a potato hash brown, but creamier. Because the taste of taro is creamier. I don't think it has like natural fat content like avocado, but the fragrance and the slight earthy flavor of taro is such that it tastes richer. Not in like a buttery way, but in like a, like this was cooked with heavy cream and set in and it's now marinated.
Yeah, really
Fantastic.
good.
I bet this would be really good baked too, you know?
Do you want to bite with shark?
No, shark unfortunately triggers my hand condition really
It's
bad.
not that spicy.
I know it's not about the spicy perception, Aaron.
I
It's
know.
about the food itself being a trigger. So the spice
chili.
level, yes, does matter, but any amount of spice will trigger it.
Nightshade.
Yes. You like the snack?
Definitely.
Nice. Aaron, seal of approval. Ifishy, when you bake them, did you put enough oil? Because oil will make everything crispy. If you just bake them and you went the low-fat route, yeah, they're not going to be crispy.
I have an announcement. Everyone listen.
Okay.
This is my favorite version of taro I've ever had.
Wow.
But I don't like taro that much normally, so it's not that big a deal. But yeah, this is my favorite version of taro.
Even more than the chips that we got from the Indonesian mosque?
I forgot those, so yeah. I can't rate what I don't remember. Thank you, June.
Yeah.
Very appreciative.
We have not been to Indonesia yet. Let me know how your Hanukkah latkes come out next year. Yeah, true. Baking will be less smelly. Do you think you eat 2,000 calories a day? I think I eat more. I think that's why I've gained like 14 pounds in the pandemic. I don't really count calories, but I'm pretty sure I don't eat under 2. Because if I ate under 2K, I would probably not have gained this much weight.
Yeah, our workouts are, according to my Apple Watch, around 400 calories a day. So.
But I also don't move. I literally don't go out. So
Yeah,
I have decreased activity overall, and I have increased caloric intake because I'm so bored and stressed that I don't have any other mode of existence, of pleasure.
Fred is your new.
Vegas was the last place we went to before the pandemic happened. Do you want some or no? That's a no. Marshmallows. We ate in Vegas. We have a friend. His Instagram handle is Wander Sauce. WanderSauce. And he posts food content from all over the world. And he took us around in his car. And we just ate. We just ate for a week. I don't take another shower. Are you crazy? I would never. It's such a pain. Showering is such a pain. If I could remain clean without taking a shower, I would probably pay $20,000 for that technology for the rest of my life.
Move the camera. He was kissing me.
Aww. Kiss him again.
Fred.
Woo! We're just eating around you, Fred. How do you like that?
Just make air and sponge.
We don't
baby.
take baths. I feel disgusting taking baths. You're just sitting and marinating in your own dirty water.
I'm such a hungerman right now. What else should I eat?
It's because you didn't eat much today.
I didn't. I'm not satiated yet.
You ate oatmeal for lunch. Do you want to eat the rest of your oat?
Not really. I don't know. I'll figure something out.
Do you want apples?
I kind of want to eat the snacks I bought for Nez.
Can you eat those? I really don't think she would want all 3 bags, honestly, because she only takes 1. You should eat them, Aaron.
Yes. And if she likes them, I can get more.
Mm-hmm. You don't want any more taro? Do you want?
You can have the rest.
I have 1 final piece for you if you want it.
Okay, I'll take a piece, but I don't want to take all of yours.
I won't. I'm constantly making them. Have you ever dealt with harassment before at work or anywhere? At one of my food jobs, we had a, I believe my boss eventually called him out and fired him, but my boss described him as a functioning alcoholic, and he basically probably got drunk one night and texted me and called me his China doll. That's probably the worst instance. I also had another dude who worked with me at another food place. I'm trying to keep it pretty confidential, but he would say pretty inappropriate things, which I didn't really care for at the time because kitchens are weird like that. You kind of just roll with the punches, and I'm not easily offended. I'm not like, it might be, you might want to cancel me for this, but like, I do feel like a big part of the Me Too movement is that, 1, there is power dynamic that's being abused there, but 2, we as a society never taught people how to communicate their boundaries and desires and wants and dislikes. And I'm not saying that there's no, like, you know, intentional rapists out there, but like a lot of tales of Me Too came out, and I was just like, but do people know how to communicate with each other about their personal boundaries?
Like the old thing that people like, the difference between, you know, a Weinstein and a Aziz Ansari situation. happens.
Yeah, I don't know what went on. We weren't there for the Aziz Ansari scenario, but that was one case where I read it, and I still want to know more. We can't equate all of these sexual assault crimes together because they're on different levels of offense. But anyway, I worked at this place. He cracked a lot of inappropriate jokes. He would say things like, June, when are we making a baby? And then I was really having a bad day with my period cramps one day, and he was like, oh so very angry, and he said some shit like, I'm also on my period today. So just like stuff like that. I think those would qualify as harassment. Whatever.
Was he? Men can have periods too, as we know.
Men can have periods?
Yes.
You bleed out of your penises?
Gender is not related to your organs down there.
What is your periods? You can't call them a period. You can call them a hormonal shift or fluctuation, but it's not a period unless you're pushing out an unfertilized egg and the uterine wall lining is sloughing off in a bloody mass and coming through your vagina, staining all parts of your undergarment, maybe staining through your clothes, and it causes you extreme cramps. Besides the times that I've actually kicked you in your balls and made you keel over in pain, have you ever experienced the feeling of being kicked in the balls and keeling over in pain? Every single month. And if you haven't, please don't call that being on your period.
I'm just saying that, as you know, gender and biology aren't the same.
And like Terry, yeah, the system doesn't work for victims. The whole thing about like rape victims having to go report the crime that they just suffered through and having to be subjected to this very physical violation again to get the rape kit done, and then all these rape kits piling up and never actually being investigated is onto itself a crime, right? Because you're re-traumatizing these victims for no end game.
Yeah, June, to be clear, my point was about trans men. That somebody who identifies as a man.
No, you weren't. Go away.
Yeah, that was literally my point. I know that guy wasn't a trans man. He was just being a dick. But in general, trans men can have periods. Yeah, that's all I was saying.
You sure?
Yes, literally.
Are you being honest?
Yes, I was
Okay.
saying men can have periods.
Well,
trans men can have periods.
Okay, that's fine.
That's my point.
That's fine. But not when a cisgendered man comes in
Right,
and
that
says
wasn't his
he's
situation.
he's also being.
Right.
I can never tell with Aaron. Sometimes he just likes to yank my chain.
I wasn't yanking your chain. I was pointing out because you made a generalization.
Oh my God,
that implied
yes.
men can't have periods.
And fucking period products being taxed is so ridiculous to me. It's like we have a choice in having a period, or you know what? I'm just gonna say that if you're gonna tax menstrual products, why don't we just all walk around bleeding through our jeans and skirts and shirts,
Trans
whatever?
men are men, Fizgig.
Because if society doesn't seem to think it's a necessary thing for us to contain our periods, then I say free the fucking period. Free the fucking period. Just let it bleed. Let it bleed all over. Let it stain the subway seats. Let it stain the bus seats. Sit everywhere. And just let that blood sink. Because we don't need pads. We don't need tampons, guys.
Is this one for me?
Yeah, that's for you.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah. How is?
Great snack, as you've established.
Let it bleed.
Fizgig, get your transphobic ass out of here.
Who? Who's
No.
transphobic?
Fizgig, well, it's fine. There's always assholes online.
Wait, what did Fizzgig
He
say?
said trans men can have periods, but men cannot. And I said trans men
Amen.
Amen. And he said, just because you checked it doesn't mean it's true.
Let's not get bogged down in identity politics. I don't fucking care if you're
Yeah.
a man or a woman, and I don't fucking care what you identify as. You're still a fucking human being, and you are a living creature who deserves to live as much as anyone else deserves to live, which, you know, in my personal vocabulary, deserve is a very fraught word, and I don't like to use it, but human rights applies to all humans. And I would even say human rights should extend to all animals, but, you
Right.
know, whatever. If I were world dictator, our world would even make... We would have to, like, break all of our current reasoning and logic, because all of our current reasoning and logic make no fucking sense to me. So if I were dictator, we would push the unreasonable until it were reasonable. And then my world would be a mess anyway, guys, because no messiah can come in and save us from us. We're just fucking doomed. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Understood anything of what you just said?
Have you ever stained something publicly before advocating free bleeding? Not purposefully. No, I wouldn't do that. But I've definitely bled through my clothes, guys. I've definitely bled through my jeans.
Is it like respect? Is it like responsible if you like say bleed on a subway seat and then like, you know, leave it there or something? Like, what are you supposed to do in situations like
People vom and they don't fucking clean it up.
that? Right, but does that make it okay?
No, it doesn't make it okay. But I don't think you can be legally fined for it, and it's not like
I'm
anybody
just saying what
is...
you think is the right thing. I'm just asking.
I think that if you stain the seat in a public place, that if you have napkins on you, you should clean it. And if you don't have anything to clean it with, then you can't clean it. That's that. Right? Oh, zoomies. Menstrual cups don't work for all bodies. Unfortunately, I've spent some money on some. Let's just say, cannot get them to work for me. So, unfortunately, yeah, I wish I could, but haven't found one that works, and they're really expensive. So every time you buy one and it doesn't work, I'm just like, what do I do with the silicone cup that cost me $35? I do like period panties. I think they do work, especially if your flow is reasonably light-ish.
Why did your sister faint from a menstrual cup?
It could be because it was really painful. It just doesn't fit into some bodies. I too wish period panties weren't so expensive, but if they last you a while, you know, pads and tampons are expensive too. I just feel like we should have free menstrual everything, because it just feels weird to feel like we're baby manufacturing plants and we have to buy all of our own supplies on top of making humans. Yeah, you need sperm, but like our bodies are the site of production. So why is it not provided to us? Or are they just taxing all of these products because they want to encourage us to not have periods at all and just turn one baby after another out and be a literal manufacturing plant for babies? In which case I say set everything on fire. I do believe you can take out your ovaries and that would stop. And you can also tie your tubes. Does that stop periods? Does tying your
You're asking me.
I truly don't know. I'm sure there are procedures, but also they affect your health otherwise. So.
Madowix is exhausted. From us or just in general?
Are we exhausting you? Okay. Tying your tubes does not stop periods, heard. I have tried reusable pads. I guess they're okay. They trap a lot of moisture. cold sweat. Take out your uterus. See, guys, we never had great sex ed. I never really understood the reproductive system. But I was forced to take calculus. Fred? Yeah. I would be a fucking pyro, honestly, if I really wanted to wreck the world. My mom actually never let me use tampons because she had that weird, like, virginity purity thing going, and she thought that using a tampon would de-virginize me. So to this day, I have not used a single tampon. Probably would not be very comfortable for me. What tea are you drinking?
It's just the.
You look really cute right now.
Thank you, June.
Doesn't he look really cute, guys?
It's just the. I forget the name
Herbal?
every time. It's the herbal Hawaiian tea.
I did grow up Christian. My parents converted when I was maybe like 6 years old. They were previously atheists / culturally Buddhist. I feel like my mom would take me to Buddhist temples, light the incense, make a donation, and then we would pray. But it was like a very cultural thing. We didn't really do anything else that I can remember.
Aaron needs rest. I do.
What?
Probably.
What?
I don't know. I feel fine. Jenny says I need rest. Thank you for your concern, Jenny. Is Aaron hype beast? What do you think? I'm not growing a mullet. My hair is just longer than I'm normally happy with it being, but I haven't gotten a haircut in a long time.
Oh
Fred,
my God.
Fred has the madness.
Damn. Radiation for cancer
I'll be
sounds
back for the tea.
intense. Okay, bye-bye.
Theodore, how do you grow a mustache like mine? Well, you either can or you can't, buddy. I don't know what to tell you. Just
Genetics.
yeah, grow it out and see what it's like.
There you go. Completely useless advice from June and Aaron. I'm gonna dry roast the batch and see how they turn out. They'll probably be even starchier without the fat. Probably won't taste very good, but I gotta try it, you know, for science. I do feel like when I do weird cooking experiments, I do end up coming away with like this rather abstract knowledge that just kind of accumulates in the back of my brain. Oh my God, this cat. And one day all the knowledge will get like synthesized together and I'll be like, oh, I wonder if that's the case. And you know, maybe in like 8 years' time, I'll feel a little bit smarter. But until then, I feel like a fool. Zach does have a very Bob Ross vibe. Lots of people have compared him to Bob Ross. Zach is truly the sweetest human being I've ever worked with. Have you met Zach in person, Aaron?
No.
Have you met any of my coworkers in person?
Trying to think.
bake tomorrow, maybe. Not tonight, for sure. For sure not tonight. There's not a mean bone in Zach's body, I feel like. Not that I've seen.
How many mean bones are in your body?
Oh my god, I have at least 13 mean bones, guys. At least. Every time a motorcyclist roars by, I wish them death. And depending on how bad the noise was, I wish them either a very serious injury or like a very torturous crash into a tree and a tumble down the hillside.
Yeah, 13 out of 206, so that's like your 6% mean?
What?
Somebody said out of 206 bones in your body.
Oh.
Yeah.
I see. Fred, what are you doing, my child? What are you doing?
He's got the madness.
Trisha, I think it's fair to wish diarrhea on people. It's nothing they haven't experienced before.
Yeah, June wishes death on motorcyclists, so diarrhea is probably preferable for them.
Are we gonna have to ban you? Stop asking when the new Budget Eats is coming out, please. We will ban you. Fred, we are fostering to adopt. Fred, though. Yes, I think Fred does love me. I was petting him today, and he put his little pawsies on my hand, and he just fell asleep. And I was like, oh. Oh. The thumbnail for this live is the raw taro before processing. No more baths. No more baths for Fred. Yay! He's probably about to skedaddle out of here on another Zoom mission. Who are you the most comfortable to work with at Delish? I'm on pretty okay terms with most people. The others I just don't know well enough. I actually think maybe the only thing that has caused some tension between me and coworkers is my involvement in the union. I feel like not everyone is very, very pro-union, and that has caused a lot of communication to fall through because people avoid me because I try to talk to them about the union. I didn't go to culinary school, if that's what you're asking. I'm trying to tell them that they will benefit from the union, but honestly, it's very hard to understand because they don't really talk to me about it. They kind of just shut down the conversation. So I don't want to make them more uncomfortable, so I've basically stopped approaching. But most of the people who do work at Hearst obviously are very invested in the union. That's why we won the verification vote.
Dude, he is in full madness.
Mm-hmm. Mayday! I mean, I've never experienced union membership before, but I know that Hearst is a place that needs to have deep systemic change because I know people have been burning out, and I see my coworkers leaving for better jobs, and it's a very well-known fact that Hearst is terrible when it comes to retaining workers because It's so hard to get a raise in the company. All the practices are so not transparent. Everybody who works there knows. Everybody who works there, unfortunately, have come to accept this. But now that we have unionized successfully, we are no longer accepting it. And we recognize that we have to change it. And we recognize that we're not only changing it for ourselves, but for others in the company, and we're also trying to lead by example for the rest of the media industries. Because media in general is a terrible place to be. Like most industries, if they can't take advantage of the worker, they fucking will. And so unions are the number one defense against that exploitation that is now systemic, because unions are collective action by the workers. So if you want to stop getting exploited by a huge corporation, the only way to do that is to band with other people who are also suffering, and to say, hey, we're gonna withhold our labor because you profit off of it. We are making your profits, and yet we do not see anything from it. We are alienated from our work. We're alienated from ourselves. And maybe it's time we stop that alienation. They stopped unions in New Zealand? Why? Yes, of course. Not all unions are good. The prime example is the police union. Complete botchery of what unions are supposed to do. Because police unions have grown into this force where they basically just abuse the system as much as possible. Police unions have written into their contracts that police officers who get reported for offenses can gain access to names on reports and know exactly who reported on them. Just completely unethical shit like that lead to them abusing power and creating a system of fear. And so yeah, not all unions are good. Least of all police unions. But the vast majority of unions benefit the worker. And also, unions are extremely crucial for people who are of a minority group, like women, black people, people who normally get lower wages. Unions will help those who need the most help more than any individual targeted changes will ever help. Because it's unions negotiate for a contract and it's change across the board, and it sets a baseline of benefits and a baseline of rules, and it sets in a system that you cannot dip below. It sets a standard. Right now we don't have a standard. Right now it's just whatever the corporation wants to do, the corporation does, and the workers just have to take it. The workers just have to be like, all right, well, this is what it is, so I better shut up, put up with it, and do it. But if we want to put an end to the bullying of corporations, we need unions. Because you can advocate for yourself all you want as an individual worker, but it's probably all going to be wasted effort. Even if you manage to get a raise for yourself, what about all the other coworkers who didn't manage to do that? So, pay equity, transparency, diversity and inclusion, especially in a place like media. We need diversity of voices. We need inclusion of those voices, because I'm frankly tired of hearing the same narrative over and over again, and I think we need different perspectives. So taro chips. Ew, your jelly beans melted in your pocket. And like, I'm not shitting on hers by saying hers has nothing going for it. Hers has a lot of benefits in place. But you also know what happens when you have a corporation this big is it gets very disorganized very easily when you're not organized. And so hers has all of these benefits in place, but no employees actually know to take advantage of them because communication is very inconsistent. And so having all of these things written down in a contract makes it clear exactly what benefits employees will have. And it's basically just clarifying everything that is available to the employee. So honestly, I don't know why management should be so afraid of unions. If they do claim to be the best media company to work for, then let's all get it down in writing and see if that's the case, you know? You gotta walk the walk on top of talking the talk. So if you're saying that you're great, let's just see it, right? But Julie, isn't it the case that some people will be lazy anyway? I don't think that is a valid reason to not unionize. By not unionizing, you're just hurting the other people who are good workers. And also, why are people lazy and bad workers? Is it possibly because they don't feel valued enough? Or is it because they're just intrinsically a person who doesn't see value in putting in more work, which is fine. I think it's fine. I think we have to be fine with that because capitalism has told us over and over again, you have to be productive, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to achieve. But maybe they're actually the gurus of life. Maybe they're actually teaching you to not fucking care about work so much and not to define ourselves by the work that we put out. Because we can put out all the work that we want and still people in India are dying at such a dire rate that we have to just do mass pyres. So what is work good for anyway? What is productivity good for? What are we producing in the world? Does it actually help us do anything? What is achievement if people are still suffering? I don't think there's a way to stop lazy people, you know, but unions are there for the vast majority of workers as bottom line protection. And so I'm not going to let a few lazy people, whatever that means, deter me from unionizing because they will always exist. I'm sorry you have to deal with lazy people at work. It's very fucking frustrating to feel like nobody else cares about the job as much as you do, and so you end up doing all of it. I feel like we've all had that experience in school and at work as adults. And I honestly don't know if there's a cure for that. Sometimes you just gotta care less. Or you need to find a group of people who magically care exactly as much as you do. I don't know what reasons people have for not unionizing. Maybe they see it as a betrayal of the company. Maybe they have these, like, you know, like very old-fashioned corporate ideas of success and being valued as the individual worker who stayed with the company their whole lives and they want to be like loyal, whatever that means. I don't know. I do wish the anti-union people who exist at Hearst, who are being included in the union, would talk about why they don't want to be in the union. Some people have, but not people on my team. They have been avoided. I would love to learn. I want to know their perspective. I want to know their point of view. I don't even want to convince them that the union is a good thing because I'm not there to change their belief systems. I just want to understand their belief systems. Because right now I don't understand. But I think you might be right. And I'm going to butcher your name again. I'm so sorry. Shyamali. It is individualism. There's a great sense of individualism and individual accomplishment, and I don't want to be lumped together, and I'm special, and I can achieve more, and I want to be recognized for me. Like, I feel like that is a feeling that exists. I just don't know, guys. I just don't know. And also, you have to take into consideration people's backgrounds. Like, maybe they grew up with more conservative families who have always been anti-union. I don't know, man. I'm not them. Again, I would love to have these conversations with them, but clearly every time I approach them, it makes them feel very uncomfortable, so I've stopped doing it, because the last thing I want to do is make people uncomfortable. I want the union to be a positive force. I don't want it to cause people more stress and pain. Yeah, pull yourself up by your bootstraps is that kind of a Calvinistic take that if you are favored by God, you will achieve. Judy, I need to move to Germany. Viral Norn. How did you break free from your family, who I'm assuming is conservative? And how did you decide for yourself that you didn't want to be conservative? I would love to know your mental political journey. Yeah, it truly is so exhausting to think about how capitalism is woven into every facet of our society. I've always wondered about pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. I'm like, how do you do that? You're so heavy. Yeah. Do we have anyone in the chat who works in the police force or who has family and friends who work in the police force? And do they feel comfortable in their identity as a member of the police force in this country? I'm also curious about that. Can you explain what you mean by alienation? I believe it's a phrase that like Marxists use. We are alienated from our labor. For example, back in the test kitchen, I made videos for YouTube that I didn't very much care about. I was told to do them, so I did them. And it is work that I put out that I do not personally identify with, that I do not feel mentally, psychologically, emotionally invested in, but I simply did it because that's what work required of me in exchange for my pay. That is a form of alienation from yourself. I feel like it breeds alienation from yourself because you are no longer doing stuff that you identify with. You are simply becoming a machine of production. You can also be alienated from your work because you do not own your work. So for example, our art director who makes all of the designs for our t-shirt on our website do not get a single cent off of those sales. She is being alienated from her work. It happens to everyone, right? My videos that I make for Hearst, including Budget Eats, belong to Hearst. They don't belong to me anymore. So it's kind of like you're giving birth to these babies and they take them away from you and you cannot call them your children. They belong to other people now. So that's what I mean by my definition of alienation. I hope we're not flaming people. I'm truly just genuinely curious about people's experience in their identities, because I don't fault people for falling into professions, and I don't fault people for being agents of oppression, but I do feel like when there are other options for jobs, why would you still choose to be a police person unless you want to be complicit in the system of violence and injustice and oppression, or you truly really fucking just want to shoot people and have a reason to do it? I can't, if I joined the police force because I wanted to be a hero, I don't understand how I would be able to continue being a police officer in good conscience, knowing that the entire policing system is as fucked up as it is. I just don't know if I can deal with staying in that job. Maybe I'll find a way to rationalize myself into staying because I've already put so much work and dedication into getting there, but man. Yeah, no good cops in a shitty system is right. By default of staying in a system that has been shown time and time again to be completely corrupt, you can't be a good cop. And I think good cops have existed and they've spoken out against the system and they've basically been ostracized and muted by the system. So if you are a good cop, you eventually fall out of that system, because I don't think if you are a good cop you can tolerate staying in there, or if they will allow you to stay there. I think in order to stay in an organization that perpetrates legal crimes, shall we say, the paradoxes of our world. I forgot my original train of thought. Sorry, guys. Josette, I totally believe that there are people who get into that field so they can be a hero and get rid of the bad guys. But I think now it's kind of hard to avoid seeing that the entire police force is frequently the bad guy. And the law allows them to be that way, and so they take advantage of that allowance, and they have lived into more and more their identity of abusers. Some people think they can change things from the inside, but that's not really possible. Yeah, I agree. Maybe there needs to be more diversity in the police work, but I don't even think that will change it. It'll just be superficial. If by diversity you mean just racial diversity or even gender diversity, I don't think that can change it. That's just superficial stuff. The system has to change. It, unless the majority of the police force gets a moralistic awakening, I don't think anything will change into the system, because newcomers going into the system, no matter how diverse they are, will be forced to fall in line with the predicates. I totally agree, Vicky. I don't think everyone who signed up for the police academy believe they want to be complicit, but I think they do turn complicit. No, we don't need RoboCops. We already have RoboCop dogs. They're terrifying. It's literally a Black Mirror episode come to life. We don't need RoboCops. We don't need RoboCops. Robotic police would be unbiased. Who do you think programs them? Who would they be policing? I do agree with Samantha. Samantha said I would go so far as to say the training further indoctrinated people into white supremacist delusion and capitalism. You can't change people's thoughts. You can't change them by telling them you're wrong, this is the right way to be. They'll just get very defensive and insecure, and they'll double down. I don't think we can ever be unbiased. There is no such thing as unbiased. Everything is biased. It's just a degree of bias. In order to argue that there is unbiased stuff, you have to argue that there is an objective truth, and there just isn't. Yeah, I mean, the issue is beyond the police. The police are the keep guards of capitalism. They protect property. They don't protect people. Their job is to protect the pillars of capitalism. So yeah, the problem does go beyond police, because the problem is capitalism. It's kind of like No Face in Spirited Away. No Face will always be hungry. Capitalism will always be hungry. Capitalism has no identity in and of itself. It just knows to consume, and it just knows to grow bigger, but it never grows happier or fulfilled. And right now, how do we purge capitalism of its powers? How do we make No Face throw up? How do we lessen the insecurity of lacking identity and meaning in life? Bye, Angela. Ooh, guys, I did a podcast. Do you guys listen to podcasts? Do you want to listen to my new podcast interview? I'll drop the link. I feel like sooner or later I'm going to get in trouble for these lives. It's just a matter of time. Probably this podcast too. mean, just because I'm unionized doesn't mean I can't get fired. I feel like if they want to fire you, they'll find a reason. The podcast is me and two ladies talking about food media, appropriation, authenticity, mental health, my feelings, my rambling thoughts, just more of this live, really. But they edited it down, so I sound a lot more coherent and a lot less angry, but still a little bit angry. I mean, does freedom of speech really exist in the United States? I'm starting to question that. Right, Jessel, exactly. I feel like we are fed this narrative of we can be better individually if we want to be better. Like, you think you're too fat, well, you can always work out and be thinner. And you think you're unproductive, so you can always install this app and manage yourself and manage your time better. And, you know, we have all of these individual steps on how to improve ourselves. And it's never really talked about why we're struggling, and it's never really talked about how it goes beyond ourselves, and it's never really talked about why people burn out at work. Is it because they can't manage their time well, or is it just because they have too many fucking things on their plate that keep getting taller and taller? I learned this phrase, job creep. I believe there's a Wikipedia page for it. Job creep is when you have more and more responsibilities and your job description becomes no longer accurate because it just keeps creeping bigger and bigger, and your job becomes more and more inclusive of new duties. You don't get a promotion and you don't get a raise, you just keep getting more work. I don't want me to get into trouble too, but it's not for us to decide, Willie. It's other people who tell us we're doing the wrong things and who punish us. So I can't stop other people from punishing. I can only say that this is what I believe in, and I'm willing to bear the consequences of speaking out. If the United States is a place where I can be fired or gagged in other ways for speaking about these issues, man, that would be a real bummer to my parents. Worked really hard to get out of China. Bye, Judy. I don't think the jobs available will get better, because we currently run, in my Instagram stories today, I called it the economy of death. We currently run a society in which we can make profit off of people suffering, and we can make profit off of people dying, and that's the economy of death that we're seeing. We would rather protect intellectual rights over the vaccines rather than let more manufacturers, whose facilities already exist, by the way, make more vaccines and distribute them to the global south and immunize people sooner so that the whole world can put this COVID thing to rest faster. We're not doing that because we run on an economy of death. So I can't imagine with automation being more and more of a thing in jobs that we would have better jobs. We probably would just have worse jobs. We probably have worse paying jobs. And this also calls into question why we need to produce so much shit. If we have robots making all the things for us, then why do we still need to work? How is it that we keep making more work for ourselves to do? You would think that with all the automation and all the technology that we have today, we would be working less than we used to, but we are working more somehow. And not making as much in terms of money. So I think under the current system, we can only drive ourselves into more and more dire and miserable circumstances. No siblings. Yeah, scarcity is manufactured. A lot of the things that we are imprisoned by, that we are ruled by, is manufactured. We manufacture our own misery so that we can make profit. And we still don't quite know what profit does for us. I don't know who profit benefits. In the end, even if I were to get a pay raise, as so many commenters so generously haggle delish for in every single Budget Eats video, I wouldn't be happier. I would maybe be a little bit richer and still stuck in this miserable world where people are dying unnecessarily. And then I would feel more individual responsibility to donate more of my money to try to save people, but the bigger picture is I can't save people. I'm only one person. No matter how much pay raise I get, it will not hold a single hair to what Bill Gates has, to what Jeff Bezos has, to whoever fucking Nancy Pelosi has. She's not a billionaire yet, I don't think, but she's loaded. Pelosi is loaded. How do you deal with scam phone calls that won't leave you alone after telling them no numerous times? What kind of scam calls, and why are you picking them up? My phone always flags them as possible scam, and I just never pick them up. If anybody needs to reach me, they will leave a voicemail. So I just don't pick up phone calls anymore. Oh my, holy shit. Did you all hear that? Queens. What do you think of the idea that 75K is a happy salary? I think if everybody took home 75K, maybe. But at this rate, my tax rate was above 40% this year. That's like almost half of my pay is gone after taxes. And I don't even live in a country with fucking universal health care. So, I'm not happy about that. It's enough for me to live because I can fucking make $2 meals and be fine with it. And I can buy some, moldy taro and make chips with it, but doesn't make me happy to know that I made that much money and then I had to give it to a government that I don't really seem to appreciate. What did I make as a cook? I made pretty much minimum wage. My first job was $10 an hour. I got 2 raises. It was at Crow Street Grocers. They were awesome people. I was there for like less than 4 months and I got 2 raises, and my final pay I think was like $12, and then I went to another restaurant and it dropped down to $10 an hour. No overtime. They hackle at you to sign out and sign in exactly on the dot, so that they don't have to pay you overtime. My last job at a restaurant I believe was $13 an hour. So 4.5 years in restaurants, starting at 10, worked my way to 13. Minimum wage, by the way, in New York right now is 15. I think. Are we at 15 yet, Aaron?
What's up?
Are we at $15 minimum wage in New York yet?
I believe so.
I think we are. Yeah, it is federal in New York. Yeah, federal, New York State, New York City. 3 layers of taxes. But before, I've never paid more than like 32%. So this year there was an increase, and I have no idea why. And I don't make six figures. I feel like maybe if I made over $100,000, I would understand why I paid that much more taxes, and but I don't even know what the tax brackets are, guys, honestly. So I'll do a competition, guys, but I honestly don't think I'm trained well enough to win something like MasterChef, so I wouldn't stress myself out by like auditioning for MasterChef. But if they were like, hey, do you want to do this charity oriented cooking competition? Sure, why not? I don't have skin in the game, so I wouldn't go there if it only profited me, you know? But if they said like, all the winning, you're raising funds for a charity, sure, I'll go do it. I'll have some fun. It'll be fun. But if I have like skin in the game and I'm only going there with the objective of winning for personal gain, I don't think I would bother. It doesn't really mean anything to me. It wouldn't give me a sense of accomplishment. It wouldn't make me feel better as a person. I don't see why I would. And as for scam calls, Aaron does this thing now where he'll pick up the call, and if there's a live person on the other side of the phone, he'll basically tell them that what they're doing to earn money is a horrible thing because they're taking advantage of very vulnerable people, usually really old people or people who don't speak English as a first language, because a lot of the scam calls that we get are like, your social security number has been compromised. Your account has been frozen. So he'll actually engage with them if there's a live person on the other side of the line and encourage them to do some other stuff to earn money, because what they're doing is really bad because it preys on the weak. Like Aaron and I are both savvy enough to know that like if your social security number were compromised, you would not be getting a phone call that would then ask you to like pay your credit card to get it back, you know? But for the people who are not savvy enough, who are disoriented enough, and who are scared enough, they'll fall for that shit. Sierra, I'm so glad that it has soothed you. I think a lot of people don't talk about it because we feel powerless about it, but lately I've been thinking about the power of just talking and the power of thought. Sorry, I think I dropped a little. And how over time, after talking about it over and over again, your brain starts to shift. And you start to see more of the picture. And so I do feel like talking helps. So I'm glad you feel a little bit better. That makes me feel happier too. Ooh, I like names based on month or days of the week. I used to really like Wednesday, but I'm okay with Tuesday now too. Aaron watches Kit Boga. I think that's how he learned to do that. Bye, Sierra. I don't know what their response was because I wasn't on the phone call. I only heard Aaron's side. Aaron.
Yes.
When you told the scam people to not do this anymore for a living, what was their response?
There was 3 chances I've had to do that. The first one said, yeah, I feel really bad about it and I want to stop, and I will stop eventually. And he was just, I don't know if he was acting, but he did seem like pretty upset with what he was doing. The second one said, I think she played dumb and she didn't know what I was talking about. And then the third one,
I've
I
never
said that
heard a female
It was one of
spammer
them
on
was-
Kiboga.
there has been a few, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then the last one just stayed silent for a really long time. Didn't say anything and then hung up. Like as I was talking. But, I mean, it's not like they're calling, it's not like that big a deal. Like, I don't seek them out. You know, if somebody calls me, I'll try talking to them, but I don't spend my time trying to, you know, track down scammers. Leave that to the pros.
Yeah, I mean, JG, I totally understand that in our fucked up society, sometimes this is their last resort. Like, this is the only thing that they can find that would feed them. But, like,
I think if you're a scammer, you should quit, and if you're a cop, you should quit.
that's right. And this is why we do need fucking universal basic income so that people wouldn't have to do evil shit to make a living. Can you imagine what kind of society we've created where people literally have to rob, steal, and kill to make a living? Economy of death. We've created an economy of death. So is it any surprise that all of us are fucking suffering all the time? It is exactly what the system wants us to do because it cannot make money if we are all happy. I guess that's why a few years back people started saying self-care is radical. Because self-care, when done successfully, when true self-care actually takes place, you've accomplished something. I don't even know how to take care of myself anymore. Like, I stood here in the kitchen eating cheese for 20 minutes straight, not feeling anything. By the end of that eating session, I was like, I should feel delightful. And I should feel so satisfied. But this cheese, even though it's actually not cheap cheese and was actually very good Gouda, or Gouda, has stopped tasting like anything to me. And I was still stuffing the cheese into my fucking mouth, even as I realized this. And I started feeling more and more sorry for myself. So, like, what the hell is self-care? You know? I'm still trying to figure it out, guys. Is self-care staring at my body in the mirror and trying to convince myself that I don't look as ugly as I feel? And I'm not looking for you guys to console me. I'm truly thinking through my own thoughts. And today in the shower, I was like, no. I think we have to be unafraid of being unhappy with ourselves because that is the reality. I am unhappy with myself. I look at pictures of myself a year ago and I feel really sad because I liked myself way more a year ago. I was happier, I looked younger, I looked I just looked healthier. And I think admitting to myself that right now I feel uglier because I am uglier, and that's not a bad thing. That is just a fact. It's not a bad thing to be uglier, and it's not a bad thing to be fatter. But I'm allowed to not like it. I'm allowed to not like the truth. That's what I concluded tonight in the shower. Those were my shower thoughts. And I think if I can fully grasp that it's not bad to be fatter, and it's not bad to be uglier, and it's not bad to be older, and it's not bad to be more disillusioned with the world, and actually be okay with that, that is way better than telling myself I am beautiful, I am enough, I am content, because I'm not. And it's time to start being honest with myself and stop lying to myself just for the sake of health care, whatever the fuck that means. It is so fucking illusory. That term self-care pisses me off so much because nobody fucking tells you what self-care actually is. Can I pour water into your tea?
Thank you.
If they taught you what self-care actually is, they would be effectively helping deconstruct capitalism. And they would be disassembling the power that capitalism holds over all of us. This is why I'm now pissed whenever I see a comment on Delicious channel about giving June a raise. Giving me a fucking raise wouldn't solve a fucking thing. I would still be working the same job. with more money. But more money doesn't actually do shit. Yeah, Naoko, exactly. Why does being this way make me feel bad? Because it's not in itself bad, right? We've been taught that being fatter is bad. We've been taught that being uglier is bad. We've been taught that getting older is bad. And it's because being all of those identities, fatter, uglier, older, means loss of capital. It means loss of access in our society. It means that we become more worthless in our current system, in our current economy of death. That's it. It all has to do with power. And like somebody said earlier tonight, it has to do with trying to grasp onto power that is slipping away from you in a system that has constructed this idea of scarcity. Do you hear that nice music coming through the window? Good, because I'm about to close it. The master's tools will never dismantle the master's house. Yeah, that's a fantastic quote. I think I read that quote last year sometime and I was like, whoa. Oh my God. That's such an important quote. Yeah, I'm scrolling back in the comments, and Jessel said, self-care is a scam, I feel like. It's also been co-opted by capitalism, and that's the thing. So many of these things that were supposed to be radical, that were supposed to uplift us in this mess, this quicksand mess of capitalism, has been co-opted by capitalism. I just posted a sliver of a piece today on my Instagram story, and I think the author used the term social justice industrial complex. And I was like, yeah, that's what we've created with like going green and then selling all these products that help you go green and then supporting BLM and then, you know, having Kaepernick do Nike ads. Does Nike actually care about Black lives, or is Nike just trying to turn more profit? Social justice industrial complex. Greenwashing? What's greenwashing? I mean, Krista, yes, I do hope there are companies who use their power for good. do believe they exist, but by far the ones with the most power don't. Or they covertly say they do support all of these great things, but then go behind your back and support the politicians who do the exact opposite. Greenwashing is where companies pretend to or claim to be green to get attention. There is no way to be green under capitalism if you're still trying to produce shit we don't need to make a profit. That means you're destroying nature to take natural resources to make this crap that we don't need more of. And you're trying to be like a very friendly-faced snake oil salesman. The only way to be green is to stop consuming. I mean, literally the best way to halt carbon footprint is to die, right? So as long as we're living, we're consuming, and as long as we're consuming, we're having an impact on nature. And so the best thing to do is just to consume as little as you can, which, you know, I'm not saying you should be freaking Simone Weil, who like just was torturing herself spiritually and physically, and she basically died being super anorexic because she thought going on hunger strikes would support soldiers in the war somehow. Very fascinating writer, by the way, but I'm not saying you have to like starve yourself, and I'm not saying that you have to make your existence miserable, but I'm just saying all of these companies who say they're green should maybe just stop producing shit we don't need. I don't want our money to make brands pretend to care. I want them to actually care. And unfortunately, the way to actually care about any of this shit is to stop capitalism, which is the antithesis of what these companies want to do. Because a company's nature, usually, is to turn a profit. And in order to turn a profit, you have to participate in the economy of death. And in this case, the economy of death includes not only human deaths and suffering, but also environmental death and suffering. Yeah, Krista, I agree. It is not a binary. If they do systemic changes, it does add up. Yeah, I follow this newsletter called Popular Info, and they did some research on companies and where their money actually went in terms of supporting politicians, and it seems like Patagonia actually does a lot of work and not just talk in supporting causes that they claim to believe in. So companies that do good things do exist. Not to say they're great all the time, but love to see it when companies' values align in action and in professed mission statements. Is it on us as voters to change the laws? In a country where it's so hard to vote, there's a lot of voter suppression going on. And if you read Popular Information, a lot of the big companies support politicians who vote in favor of voter suppression laws. So it's not really one-sided. Both sides are playing the game. One side, however, has more money, more power, more might, more influence, more ability to affect change faster. So to put the onus on voters is not wrong, but I don't believe just by voting we can actually do shit, because the game is already kind of rigged to begin with. I want to vote for Bernie. I don't get to vote for him. The DNC chooses who they want to put money behind, who they want to be their candidate in the end. And they run the campaigns so that even if the people wanted a candidate like Bernie, the DNC will throw all of their push behind another candidate that they think is more viable, more aligned with their group's politics, and that person will ultimately win because money is influence, and influence easily converts people's opinions, especially those who are not as well versed in politics to begin with. They can buy media, they can buy coverage, they can buy headlines, and they can buy PR. How do we change how DNC selects their candidates? I'm not educated enough to know. They don't teach you this stuff. I agree, Chris, I'm not really disagreeing with anything that you're saying, but I think you're just much more of an optimist than I am. Coming from my educational background as a college graduate who was never really good in history class and never really understood politics, I don't know how to go about changing how DNC selects their candidates. Who's going to teach me that? And I have a privileged enough job where I can work from home during a pandemic, and I have time to look into this if I wanted to. But most of the days I'm already burnt out. So I can't imagine for the working class people who are making a shit ton less money than I am, who have to go into work physically every day to carry out their duties, to bring home a smaller paycheck in the middle of fucking pandemic, if they would have the energy to actually research how to change how DNC nominates their people. And when you get people stuck in a cycle of burnout, burnout, burnout just to survive, how do you expect people to have the education and the wherewithal to fully participate in creating a government that works for them? It's rigged. We do need more than one Bernie, and we have more than one Bernie, and we're trying to get them to win from very localized positions all the way to the big chairs. It's just hard, man. I'm not saying it's impossible. I want it to be possible, but it's fucking hard. Buttigieg, honestly, I didn't even know a thing about him, and I saw him, and I was like, dude's a psychopath. I just never trusted him, man. I could not trust him. And I know it's wrong to make a judgment call and a snap first impression, but sometimes, especially in politics, when they're so good as orators and so good and prepared with their rhetoric, you really just have to go with your gut sometimes, and you look at that person and you just feel like, man, I don't think I would trust you with my life. I wouldn't trust him with my life. Would you trust Pete Buttigieg with your life? Look at him deep in the eyes. Yeah, we all do need to start acting like cats. I'm hoping Fred will teach me his secrets soon. And we'll make a Zoom workshop for how to become a cat. Can I be honest with you guys? The only other person I was considering besides Bernie, can you guess? Can you guys guess, actually, who I wanted in addition to Bernie? I actually don't support Andrew Yang for NY mayor, by the way. I did post about that on my Instagram stories today, too. He seems a little bit sketch. Kanye West, Lily. Lena, you got it right. Yeah, Marianne was my girl, okay? She was whack. She was whack. But like the best kind of whack I could ever hope for. Marianne Williamson made the fucking debates watchable. She made it so exciting. She was saying so many things that other people were so afraid to say. She was never gonna win the fucking race, but god damn it, she was there and she said those things, and those things actually became more and more a part of people's platforms. So thank fucking God that she was in the race to begin with, because I feel like she really brought a lot to the conversation, and I really enjoyed watching her. And every single debate without her after that just felt like worse than raw taro, which you never want to eat. Thanks for watching, Ashley.
How goes the rants, June?
Great. I'm reminiscing about Marianne Williamson. Do you remember her?
She was great.
She's the only person who brought up reparations. I don't know why anybody who likes watching these live streams wouldn't like Marianne Williamson. Is it just because it's a more professional setting to run for president? To which I say fucking bullshit. It's time we stop separating into camps of appropriation, like what's appropriate. If you guys think that I'm being honest and truthful and you enjoy that on these live streams, then I don't see why our politicians shouldn't just be as transparent. In fact, I think it's even more important for them to be more transparent than for a freaking nobody who cooks on the internet. Because I'm not affecting change on a policy level. Aaron doesn't really like to rant as much as I do, but he will if you request him to. Ketchup and hoisin sounds amazing. Bye, Lily. Yes, respectability politics. No, thank you. Aaron, do you have a rant for us?
A rant?
Yeah.
Fred is the best cat of all the cats. All of the cats are no good cats compared to Fred. Yeah.
Okay, I hope you had that. Maybe ranting is the true self-care. Again, everybody's self-care routine is different. You find what works for you. If you need medication, that could be your self-care. If you need to rant, that could be your self-care. If you need to pet a kitty, that could be your self-care. Mm-hmm. You owe it to yourself to try out all the different methods of self-care to find out which one is the best one for you. And don't ask your doctor about this because they don't know shit sometimes. You might know more than they do when it comes to self-care. Remember, doctors are humans. We're all just humans in the end. Some of us might be androids, though. I think because I'm not a politician, my rants and transparency are more widely accepted, yeah. Do you think if I ranted like this at work, I would still have a job? Probably not. So we have constructed these layers of what's appropriate to do in whatever scenario and environments. If I ranted like this at my job, I probably wouldn't have a job. I don't know Seattle food. Unfortunately, we only visited once. I think we had really good pho. So there's a lot of like Vietnamese food that we ate there, but I don't remember specific places. Pet peeves in the kitchen. In restaurant kitchens, when people touch my equipment without asking me and using my knife without asking me. But in the test kitchen, not really. Why is he staring at that? Why are you staring at us? Why are you staring like that, Fred? Fred, you're handsome. Look at you. Look at you, so handsome. I don't want to let him sleep. What's my worst trait that you think Fred hates? Not feeding him enough. Oh, getting too close. He's 10. Fred, come back. You don't want treats anymore? Oh, wow, okay. Fine. Fine. Fred doesn't like to be carried. Ooh, very nice. Very nice downward dog. Were you alarmed, Fred? He keeps trying to jump into the bed. I think Aaron actually let him jump into the bed. And I was like, where did he stand? And he was like, right on your pillow. And I was like, you know that he poops and steps in his poop. And you let his poop feet get on my pillow. So if I come up with lots of zits tomorrow, you guys know what happened. We don't know. We think he was rescued from the streets, but he seems very domesticated. So I suspect he was owned for a period of time and then he got abandoned. I don't know though for sure. I wouldn't get him a pet bed. We already have like a little tower for him, and we have a leather cushion with a towel on it for him, and he likes to sleep on the bookshelf sometimes. So, Fred, the people just want to see you, my mans. Why do you look so sad? Why do you look so sad, buddy? You lolled when you read my Instagram username and the characters of my name? It's the same. It's one and the same. Fred has FIV, so I don't know if it's going to be easy getting him a sibling. We already bought him enough shit. I really don't think we'll be spending more money on furniture for him that he won't use anyway. FIV? What are you trying to do, my dude? Just walking back and forth? Yes, you want pets. Did you have a lot of side cats, Fred? Did you have a lot of lovers? Did they all call you Casanova? Were you a pimp, Fred? You a pimp? Ow! Hi. Hi. Okay, I know you want me to pet you, and then you bite me, and you're kind of biting me a little hard, my dude. So what do you want? What do you want? Oh my god, he's such a Casanova. Just love him and leave him. Look at that. Look at that little shithead. Look at that little shithead. Look at him. Yeah, we're looking at you, bud. It's okay. He doesn't speak English. It's fine. What he doesn't know won't hurt him. He knows that I love him, and he knows that I'll pet him, and he knows that I'll kiss him, and he knows that I will feed him despite being really fucking tired. Guys, I'm gonna finish eating the rest of my oatmeal. It's been a pleasure ranting with you for this long. See, Soph, you know, I am mean. I have very many mean bones in my body. You're just beginning to see them. Stick around long enough and you won't love me anymore. That's the way all relationships go, isn't it? It's just the natural cycle. It is now Sunday, and it is now 1 a.m. Okay, we're gonna go to sleep. Say goodnight, Fred. Fred? Fred? There you go. Good night.